Sup shitters, my name is Logan aka Spiderhands and welcome to an SB Patrons video today that I am making for Jacob of a track by an act named Kanye West titled Come to Life. And if we switch over to here, we have ourselves the track on the screen, Kanye West Come to Life, the official video. And we're going to listen through it from start till finish and we're going to hear what we think. Let's go and let's do this.
My soul cries out, hallelujah, and I thank God for saving me. I thank God for...
Here go all your problems again.
Just full disclosure, it's actually been like a really long time since I've listened to Kanye West. I'm not going to let my personal feelings on a dude interrupt anything here.
3, 2, 1, your pen. Uncle Nye back in the pen.
I like the sort of melodyne or autotune he's got to his voice going along with those keys or the synth pad.
She shut down again. Did she finally come to life? Ever wish you had another life? Ever wish you had another life? Ever wish you had another life? Don't you wish the night would go long? I've been feeling low for so long. I ain't had a high in so long. I've been in the dark for so long. Night is always darkest for the dawn. Gotta make my mark before I'm gone.
Okay, come to life, making the most out of life, wondering about your legacy and everything like that. It's really nice just to have Kanye on top with the repetition of these rhythms, but just with that harmony in the background. It's gorgeous.
I get mad when she gone, mad when she home, sad when she gone, mad when she home, sad when she gone.
Losing right now, God. Spirit that wants to run with
Floating on a silver lining.
in the name of Jesus.
Yeah, you know where to find me. Riding on a silver lining. And my God won't deny me. Tell the devil get behind me. All the stars are aligned. Lift me up every time. You know exactly where to find me.
Hang on a minute, is this in like, this is an HD core? I was just checking, you know, it just always pays to confirm these things.
Did those ideas ever really come to life?
A little bit of vocal fry there, nice Kanye.
Come to life. Make it all come to life. Praying for a change in your life. Well, maybe it's gonna come tonight. Sun is setting in again. 3, 2, 1, your pen. Uncle right back in the pen.
The backing vocals, in addition to Kanye, is really cinematic. I kind of dig the vibe of it. It's really warm and sweet.
Tell me how Auntie been. Took your thoughts and penciled them in. Should've wrote them down in pen. And maybe they'll come to life. And maybe they'll come to life.
It's nice to have the articulation on the piano as almost a sub-layer, you know. Really nice balancing it as well. Nice sort of warm, pretty feel to it. Lots of coloration there in that mid-range to match Kanye's pitch.
Sun is setting in again. 3, 2, 1, your pen. Uncle right back to the pen. Tell me how Auntie been. Thoughts you had penciled them in. Probably should've wrote them in pen. And maybe they'll come to life. They could finally come to life. They could finally come to life.
That 80s synth kind of reminds me of motivational tracks I heard from that era.
You know where to find me. They cannot define me, so they crucify me. House of flames when I leave. Come and purify me. Come and sanctify me. You the air that I breathe. The ultra light beam. Brought a gift to Northie. All she want was Nikes. This is not about me. God is still alive.
So is this about Kanye focusing on his religion and spirituality and stuff like that, despite the struggles or difficulties that he's going through?
So I'm free.
It kind of just sits really nicely with these different pad layers and the piano dancing around the sides. Surprises me that we don't need more than this. The production, the arrangement is fairly minimalist, but it still feels reasonably wide. So was that Kanye West getting married? Was it? No, apparently this came out in 2021, so I'm wondering if it does sort of talk about having that faith and spirituality, you know, like, I just want to listen to that last verse again one more time.
Probably should've wrote 'em in pen, and maybe they'd come to life. They could finally come to life. They could finally come to life.
They could finally come to life. So he's talking about his hopes and dreams and everything like that and having written them down because maybe that'd be able to come real if he did that. Maybe he was too focused in the present and not taking record or taking step of his hopes and dreams and everything like that. It's an interesting track because this is my review of Kanye West's Come to Life. It's very different than a lot of the stuff I've heard from Kanye. You know, I started listening to Kanye in the early 2000s with a lot of his sort of like rap and hip hop stuff from around that era. I kind of tuned out in the late noughties and early 2010s because I started getting into like heavy metal and like dubstep and stuff like that. And then without, I don't know Kanye as a person, but he's had a time over the last decade or so, you know, whatever side of the fence you're on. And I think that his musical ability is undisputed. I think that this is a really pretty sweet song that kind of sounds like someone getting married. You know, it sounds like a wedding procession, their hopes and dreams coming to life with the matrimony of the two people coming together to form a future. I think that's a fantastic vibe overall. I think that it's really pretty. I think that Kanye's vocals, the singing in it, actually do really suit. I've only really heard Kanye sing once, and that was during the time he covered Bohemian Rhapsody, and while I'm not necessarily a fan of that one, I did enjoy him singing within this. Granted, there was a little bit of auto-tune in his vocals, but that's fine. We had variations of different triplet rhythms that incorporate a few of the more recent stylings of rap and hip-hop, the you know, that kind of stuff. But then again, to be fair to Kanye, he was there before all that kind of stuff began. It's great to hear him sing in a way that makes sense with the rest of the arrangement, the theme behind it, with those piano parts, but especially just, you know, just those synth pads that we had at the beginning with that slower sort of vocal phrasing and sequencing there was gorgeous. A sense of minimalism to make Kanye's vocals stand out more so in the mix. It's really great. It's really fantastic stuff. I'm used to his arrangements being a little bit more sort of like lots of percussion and bass and all that kind of stuff, but also I can't really say I've heard enough of Kanye to form much of an opinion on his music, so I may actually go listen to more of his stuff in future and decide for myself. At this point in time, it's very different to what I've heard from Kanye, so I like the change, I like the approach. And in regards to a first impression, I don't know if this would necessarily match the expectations I had after listening to his said earlier stuff, but I don't necessarily mind the shift and the versatility within this musician. It's clear that he's becoming sort of more comfortable with a lot of different angles. And I agree with the messaging there about, you know, like making sure to take a pen and write it down and see how things go. I kind of like the fact that we had a sense of hope with these sort of piano lines, especially how they danced and interacted around the place with those fuzzy synths there with a bit of energy and passion within them. I think there are nice contrasting elements that, while occupying a similar frequency spectrum, still managed to sort of pop off and be something that was great to listen to. In addition to all that, I think listening to this track, it makes me feel very secure in the fact that Kanye at this point, he's just in a really great place. You know, you hear him talk and he sounds like, even though there's a bit of sadness in there, he sounds as if he does have, it's like bittersweet, you know, there's not an overwhelming negativity and futility to it. And I think that you know, the structuring of the track was more through composed. It's gradual development of elements. I wouldn't necessarily say it was a ballad, but it's closer to that than anything else I've heard from him. I think a lack of drums and bass made it seem more sort of dreamlike or like a fantasy, which I really appreciate, and I think that's a smart idea. Like you're flying through the clouds, getting closer to God or anything like that, you know, I think that's some great imagery there. It also was sort of a spiritual aesthetic to it orally. I'm not sure, you know, what parts Kanye played here, but I also don't necessarily feel as if I need to know. All I need to hear from this musician is that he can rap and sing and have music that was done in a sort of collaborative manner to sort of fashion the angle he needs, and I think we had that. And I mean, in regards to the production, the recording, mixing, and mastering, I think this track was sensational. There was dynamic range to it from those quiet guitar parts alongside his vocals there, the synth pads that came in, the little sort of distorted parts on the side there, the little bits of extra articulation like sort of ice-like snow on the sides there of the right hand of the keys. It's wonderful and wistful, a little bit of reverb there and a bit of modulation on the vocals that sort of helped keep it in tune in a track that was very colourful already. I think it was a nice touch and we didn't oversalt it. Evidently we just have someone here, a musician, who's very comfortable in their own skin preaching their word, and I think that they nailed it here. The EQing and filtering of the vocals was fantastic. There was sat really well, nice and present amongst the rest of the elements in the mix, nice and wide in the stereo field. Everything was sort of balanced well in the stereo field, in the frequency spectrum, there were no weird resonances. And it was nice and loud without pumping, with dynamic range and changes of perceived loudness. And that makes me very happy to hear this, because this is effectively my review of Kanye West's Come to Life as part of this SP Patrons video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please do go show Kanye West some love via the various social medias and a YouTube page. Stay cool and stay safe, and please remember to support your local musicians and artists at this point in time as they need the help more than ever with all the crazy stuff going in the world, and I'll catch you in the next SP Patrons video. Spider hands out.